On this episode of Bite Sized, we are watching and discussing the 50th scene of the movie Twilight. For those of you watching along at home, that's from 1:17:13 to 1:18:50. And now, on to the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Bite Sized. If this is your first time here, here's what's going on. My name's Ben. I am your host. I'm watching the movie Twilight one scene at a time with a different guest every week, and I want to apologize to my editor for moving my microphone while I was saying that. The bumps are going to have to stay in. I'm watching it one scene at a time with a different guest every week. I find someone to get on the show. I send them anywhere from about 30 seconds to 3 minutes of the movie Twilight. We talk about it for a half hour with little to no other context, and I moved my mic again. I'm going to stop doing that. Speaking of guests, I have a guest here today who is moving her mic before she speaks like a professional. She is an improviser, a comedian, and a so-called day one Twilight fan, Tara Egan. Welcome to Bite Size.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going? How are you?
I'm so delighted. I've been dreaming of this. Should I be here?
Yeah. A second.
Hello.
You gotta be right up on it. My editor says, our mutual friend Ben Oxter says that people have a tendency to back away. Feel free to adjust as much as you need.
Ben, what do you think about this?
It's good.
Not you, Ben.
Sounds good.
Other Ben.
Right. Stop touching it.
Okay.
Stop touching it.
Happy holidays.
God damn it.
Anyway, how's it going? Great.
How's this going?
Tara, okay. I'm going to start this the way I start every interview on the show. That is by asking you, what is your history with the Twilight franchise?
Wow. What a history it is. I, as most millennial gals, had a phase in middle school. Mm-hmm. A cool girl who's a year older than me was the first to read them, and then kind of, gave one to me, and I was like, okay, all right.
What year was this?
2007.
Okay,
I think. Does that sound right? I think so.
Yeah, the first book came out in 2005. The first movie came out in 2008.
Yeah, so 2007.
You're an early adopter, I'd say.
I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, just like
much
Bella.
like a Bella Swan. So when I read that book, I was.
Sorry. It's the way you said it, Bia Soa. I just.
Yeah, she's so pretty.
Anyway, yeah, Phoenix.
I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. I went to a dance academy just like Bella. I truly had so much in common with her. I also have brown hair.
You're basically the same person. Was there a big, I know Forks, the town the movie is set in after Phoenix, is big into the whole Twilight identity thing, because there's not a ton else going on there. Phoenix, a much larger city, was there at least even in your friendship circle, like, she's from Phoenix, like we're from Phoenix? No, nothing?
No, not at all. I think it was forgotten immediately, but I really held on to it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of pride for that moment.
So you read the book for the first time because a cool older girl peer pressured you into it.
Yeah.
And hooked right away, I guess?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Into it, absolutely.
Tell me
the
about
romance.
that. Tell me about that journey.
I remember it was just so romantic. It was so like immediately like, oh, wow. Like, especially in middle school, you're like, you don't know what a relationship is supposed to look like,
Yes, I do know exactly what you're talking about.
Just a thrilling, like, oh, he's all in, he's so dedicated to her, really reading, not into it at all, as a teen.
Yeah.
And it was very much also like, as a weirdo, I'm sure you understand not to label you. No,
I would have I took a fair amount of pride in my weirdness when I was a kid. I was homeschooled. That's something that's come up some on the podcast. And the particular brand of homeschooled that I was like, yeah, I'm not like the other kids. We're different. And like, I wore my weirdness like a badge of pride.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I also, same. I was in, this is not a bragging moment.
Okay.
I was in the gifted program at school. Pretty big deal. which most of the time was fine, but we were separated from school for so many things.
Yeah.
Like we didn't get sex ed, but the rest of the school did.
Wow, wait, why not?
I guess they wanted to.
Were they like, you'll figure it out? Did they think
They thought
like,
it's never a threat to these kids.
when
Don't worry.
you're a gifted kid, that will not be a question,
Right,
Not
something
be a
like that.
possibility to you until well into your college years.
So there's just like a little piece of me that was always like, oh, I'm so weird. I'll never fit in with everyone, just like Bea Swan.
Just like Bale Swan.
No, but I think anytime there was like a character that was like, I'm so weird. I wish I could find somewhere to fit in. I was like, me too.
Wow.
Wow.
Did you ever
We're
find
the
somewhere to
same.
fit in?
Right here, buddy.
Oh, surrounded by my hundreds of cats.
Yeah.
So you read the books. Obviously, the movies come out. Were you like a midnight showing kind of gal? Did you go see those right away?
Hold your horses.
They're held.
It was a midnight book premiere,
Okay.
girl. I had a friend who was very much like, not very much not into books. She just like had never gotten into books. Her family was very much, they went to the church that said, if you read Harry Potter, you will burn.
Yeah, I was one of those. Turns out we were right.
Yeah. Now looking back,
Turns out we were on the right side of the Harry Potter question
Right.
for the wrong reasons, but we were ahead of the curve.
but I feel like for a lot of us, that was like the thing that brought people into reading,
Yeah.
besides for school. So this was the book that I was like, you should try this out. This is your entry level drug. What is not entry level drug? What do you call it when you're
Gateway drug?
Gateway
That's
drug.
the one.
I
Yeah.
know about drugs.
You're a gifted kid. You know about sex and drugs
Those
and
are
all
the
those other
things.
cool things.
But so I convinced her to read it. She got super into it. Then that was something we were both just like, yeah. And so we went to the midnight premiere at the bookstore down the street from her house for the last book. And people were either in pajamas or in like team Edward, Team Jacob shirts.
Which one were you? Were you a pajama or a team shirt?
I don't think I owned a shirt. I'm sure I had some kind of outfit.
Okay.
I always try to dress to theme.
Sure. I think you started to say, though, you were Team Edward. Is that correct?
Oh, yes.
Interesting. Why is that? Just because you saw yourself as Bella and he's the one who came in.
Well, I also think I was immediately like, well, if Bella wants Edward, then that's the team. It's what she wants.
Yeah. Has that changed? Has your team perspective changed at all? We're gonna shift into the Twilight as an adult portion of this question now. What has your relationship with Twilight been like since that period of your life?
I went to school in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
In Portland, so it was also very exciting.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, once again, I am Bella Swan.
In Bella territory.
So a little bit south, but
You want to name drop the school?
University of Portland, go Pilots.
Never heard of it.
It's Notre Dame's cuter, smarter, hotter sister school.
Did you say pilots with an L?
Pilots, yes.
Okay, that's cool.
They are river pilots, not plane pilots. So
Got
don't get
it.
that confused.
Don't get it twisted.
Because we are on the Willamette River, the mighty Willamette.
Oh, yeah.
As big fans of the podcast know, branches off part of what Lewis and Clark piloted back in their
yeah,
day.
sure. We talk about that all the time here on Bite Size.
Every single episode.
Yeah, we've mentioned Lewis and
Was
Clark
that just
a
for the
lot.
Patreon subscribers?
Yeah.
Special bonus episode.
I haven't launched yet, but we're proud to announce right now my new Lewis and Clark series. It's going to be very different. Twilight fans will not like it. It has nothing to do with Twilight at all.
Wait till you get to the last book, though, because there's a lot of connection. Skip to now.
Yes.
This year, January, I decided I would reread Twilight.
Mm-hmm. How long has it been since the last time you read it? Is this your first time, like, as an adult?
I think so. I think it must have been my first time as an adult. And it was like such a shock to me that I never clocked that Stephanie Meyer was Mormon.
Yeah.
The first time that I read it.
Yeah.
Because it's real clear looking back now.
It comes, if you know what to look for, yeah, it's there a lot. Had you watched the movies as an adult?
Yes.
Do you watch those regularly?
It's really fun. Not like regularly, but frequently.
Okay. Good to know.
Enough, for sure.
All right, let's get into the scene we're talking about today. Brief overview before we jump into it. Bella is talking to her dad, and then he meets Edward, and it's real weird, and there's a little bit of toxic masculinity, but we'll get into that in a second. We start off with an establishing shot of a very cloudy day. There is thunder, and that's important. That's going to come in handy later. I'm going to bring that around at the end of the scene. But Charlie, we see him cleaning a shotgun and drinking several beers, which is a bad combination, kids.
And you think as chief of police, he would think something about gun safety.
He would know that alcohol and firearms do not mix.
Tisk tisk. But since this whole entire scene / movie is sponsored by Rainier. It's okay.
Yes. Yeah. Did you drink a Rainier beer too when you were there at the U of Port?
We sure did.
All right.
Yes, after being 21.
Of course, when it was legal and cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Another thing you learned about in the gifted program. Yeah, it's not a good idea. He should not do it. Bella brings him another beer unasked, so this is apparently just a thing he does. Kind of makes you not want to ask too many questions about how Charlie is as a dad. This scene as a whole doesn't really make Charlie look there. I've had some Team Charlie types on in the past, and this is not a good look for Charlie.
It's true.
Yeah.
This is Charlie's not best move, but I also think if we go back to the text.
Yes. Please. Chapter and verse, please.
Yes. Myers to colon 14.
Yeah.
Yes. She is plying him with beer because she is so anxious to talk to him about this.
Interesting.
She is very much like the whole day she's been stressing about it because this is all Edward's idea that she does this introduction in the first place, because he's very much like, if I am to take ownership of you soon in wedlock, then I will need to ask permission from your father to take ownership from him.
Yes.
So it's very important that you introduce me. And she's very much like, no, dog, let's just be chill about this.
I did not see the beers that way at all, as her being like, I really did not even think about it in terms of her being like, I got to tell my dad something.
Yes.
I'm going to give him this beer too. Do you think it's more of a, I'm going to give him this beer so he likes me, or I'm going to get him a little drunk so it'll be easy, go down a little smoother? Maybe
both. I don't know if she would necessarily think about getting him drunk, but in the book, in the whole series of books, something that I kind of realized is she writes about Bella cooking a lot. Yeah. And about her cooking for her dad a lot.
Something that happens a little bit in the movie. Yeah.
And anytime she wants something from her dad, or is going to do something, or trying to repair damages she has done, she is like, I will make my father the food that he loves.
That's interesting.
This will help. And so I think this is kind of the nod to that, or connection.
I had because I've never read the books. Will never read the books. For me, Twilight is strictly a film series, and I only want to view it in that lens. I don't want the context of the books. I like that that's a weird mystery, that sometimes these strange details pop up that I've never considered before. But Bella, we do see her sometimes making food for her dad in the movie, and it always came off to me as a sad parenting her parent thing this is a single man who can't take care of himself, so it's up to his daughter to do that. I never thought about it in the context of this emotional bribery.
She parents both of her parents.
Yes.
The whole thing with her mom is that she's her mom is a silly willy flight in the wind,
loosey-goosey free spirit.
Yeah.
But she's got to loosen up her dad.
And she has to place that Rainier logo exactly next to the other beer so that the R continues and you can see the whole logo.
Do you think it's product placement, or do you think the filmmakers just Pacific Northwest? If it was in Chicago, they would have been here's an old style.
Right. I think it must have been some good producer was oh, well,
that's what they drink up
Washington.
Here. Sure. All right. Makes sense to me. But she's trying to lubricate him a little bit because she's telling him that she has a date with Edward.
Hey, got you another one.
Thanks.
I have a date with Edward Cullen.
He's a little old for you, isn't he?
No, he's a junior. I'm a junior. I thought you liked the Cullens.
I thought you didn't like any of the boys in town.
Edward doesn't live in town, technically.
He's scrambling.
They both are.
Yeah.
And they both ask each other these questions, and they both have responses ready to go. And it's very traditional, very old school.
It's cartoon dad.
It is. Yeah. It's shades of toxic masculinity is what it is.
Yes. It is very much. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the worst, but
no.
The gun thing is
well, we can get to that
classic,
right now because Bella tells him that Edward is waiting outside.
He's right outside.
He is?
Yeah, he wanted to meet you. Officially.
All right. Bring him in.
And he
cocks the gun.
flips his gun together, his his shotgun there, pops it back into place and says, well, let him in or whatever like that. And that's...
He was holding it open in his hand, waiting for the perfect comedic moment to go...
Just flick it back up. Yeah. I got to say, as someone who grew up in Texas, that is fortunately something I never encountered, but was always a fear that at some point I would go to a friend's house who was a girl, or like try to meet like a date's dad, and he would be with that dad that was like, you're dating my daughter and I got a gun. Fortunately that never happened to me, but damn, we came close a couple of times. Okay, the scene is all downhill from here, I think, because the scene just sort of stops. If you think about this scene too much, it stops making sense for a lot of reasons. First of all, Bella says Edward is waiting outside.
Oh my God.
She goes around the corner, nowhere near the front door. We do not hear the door. We do not hear the door open or close. And she comes back with Edward. He was clearly already inside.
He was in that hallway right there because it was less than a breath. She goes, I'll get him. Here's...
Yeah, and he just, no doors, nothing, he's just there. Do you think that was intentional? Was she lying, or is that just the filmmakers not really thinking too much through it and wanting to shave off a few seconds?
I mean, she lies a lot. For love?
She does lie a lot.
Is it love? Okay. And he's also a speedy vampire, and he's listening to everything that they say. So
that is true.
He probably the minute that she's like, I'm going to go get the door, he's like, I'm here.
Right. That was also something I considered, but like you don't hear the door, you don't hear him whooshing
because
in.
He's a quiet, speedy vampire.
He's a sneaky vampire is the thing.
He is.
We forgot to talk about Charlie doing that weird thing when Bella says, be nice or whatever. And
Honey, could you be nice? He's important.
Charlie
a little halo.
Makes a little circle around his head with his finger.
I'm sad that didn't catch on as like a social, like a thing that we do.
Was that like a thing we did in 2000? I've never seen it anywhere else.
Not a thing.
That was just, all right, just a Twilight.
It was just a cute little Charlieism.
Just a cute little, someone on set was like, hey, draw a little circle around your head like a halo. That'll be fun and cute. And it did not catch on at all. It's at this point in my notes that I have, hey, wait, why are there no lights on in this house? Because it was about halfway through the scene that I realized it's very dark in this scene. And not in the normal Twilight dark kind of way, but in like, when it's like light outside and you don't have lights on because there's sun coming in through the windows and the sun slowly sets or whatever. And you realize, it's like the room gradually gets dimmer and dimmer, and then you realize, there are no lights in here. I should turn some lights on. They're about like 30 minutes past that. They should have turned lights on a lot, especially if you're going to be cleaning a gun while drinking. Don't do it in the dark.
Yeah. Maybe they're trying to make it clear that he's waited until like an appropriate time to drink. It's at least after 5 p.m.
He's not day drinking.
And...
Yeah. There's a little bit of daylight coming through. We established earlier it's very cloudy outside. We heard the thunder
most of the time.
But still, like I feel like if you're gonna be cleaning a gun, you want to be able to like I have so many lights on right now to record a podcast. If you want to be able to, and like he's like looking down the barrel of this gun, clearly trying to get a good look at what he's doing. You'd think some lights would help with that.
Maybe Charlie is a creature.
Maybe a creature.
Maybe Charlie has some kind of skill.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't.
Some sort of night
obviously
vision
not
man?
a vampire because that's already taken, and not a werewolf either because that'd be pretty clear. Maybe he's like a
Bigfoot or something, or a swamp man.
I love that.
Bigfoot could be fun.
Bigfoot could be. He wears a lot of plaid.
He does, like Bigfoot does. He hangs out in the forest.
Yes, he does.
He's got a mustache, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't know if we ever see his feet. They could be big.
Wow. I've never thought about that.
It could happen.
Now I'm going to reread this again in 15 years and see what happens.
Yeah, please.
If I can like scoot that into the storyline.
Bella tells Charlie that Edward wanted to meet him.
Chief Swan, I wanted to formally introduce myself. I'm Edward Cullen.
Hi, Edward.
It's like pretty clear throughout the book, throughout the movie, that this is such a small town that everybody knows everybody. And like that there's one girl moving in that's new. Everybody knows it's Bella.
Right.
He should know Edward already.
Yeah, and like he knows the Cullens well enough to have like an opinion about them. Like Bella says in this scene, I thought you liked the Cullens. Edward, it says in this scene, he's a junior. So assuming they moved back into town for his freshman year, they've been here about 2.5 years now. He's worked with Carlisle a lot. He should have met Edward at least once in this. You're right. Forks is a town of about 3,000 people. You think they would have crossed paths before.
They know each other.
Makes no sense.
Been weird.
You know what else doesn't make sense to me?
Bella won't be out too late tonight. She's just gonna play baseball with my family.
Baseball?
Yes, sir, that's the plan.
Bella's gonna play baseball. Well, good luck with that.
This scene starts off with thunder, and it's very cloudy outside, and there's thunder. Charlie's first question should be, you're going to go play
Outside?
baseball during this lightning storm. Like,
Do you have an indoor batting cage?
yeah, like you're going to get my daughter wet and potentially struck by lightning.
That's
why?
so funny. I never thought about that.
Yeah. And clearly no one else did, because like, why? There's so many other things you could say. I don't know. It's kind of weird to say we're going to go play baseball with 5 or 6 other people. That's a small baseball situation, but it just really makes no sense to me. And this is something we talked about in the last scene. It's one of those scenes where Edward comes in through Bella's window and they start getting all kissy. And then at some point he flies back against the wall and there's a big bang. And Charlie at no point in the scene does Charlie come and be like, hey, what was that noise? And so this is another scene where he's like, Charlie, you should ask why you're taking my daughter to an outdoor activity during a lightning storm. This is basic dad stuff.
He is just maybe not an inquisitive guy. He's off the clock now. He's like, I'm not a detective right now.
He's not off the dad clock, though.
This is true. But he's been off the dad clock for a long time
That's
while Bella's
true.
grown up in Phoenix,
He's
Arizona.
Forgotten how to be a
Yeah,
dad.
he forgot.
It just,
It's like the opposite of a bicycle.
Sorry, what?
If you're not consistently practicing
The
being
dad
a dad,
clock?
then you'll forget.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess.
And this is, to a certain point, Edward got lucky that he did not ask that question, because like you'd think they'd come up with a better story than we're going to go play baseball in this perilous
Yeah.
weather. Like it sounds like
We're
a lie.
gonna get dinner
honestly.
with our family.
Me and my dad and my parents and my 3 siblings are going to play baseball with much fewer people than you need to
Yeah.
play a normal baseball game. And we're going to do it when it's dangerous outside. Can your daughter come with us? It's such a terrible idea. I can't believe it works.
The big thing that Edward wants to get across is with my family. Like this is
Right.
This is a wholesome
There will be
together
chaperones.
activity. Like we are not going off to some make out point.
We're
Like,
going to leave room for the Holy Spirit. Yeah.
Yes.
Very, very traditional once again.
It is.
Just some real good classic how to just straight out of a Christian dating book for young teens.
And that's what it is.
This
It
basically,
really is.
This
it really
is this is how it went for me when I was Edward's age, when I was 100 years old.
This is how it went for you.
No, it went a lot worse than that. It went worse in different ways.
Good.
I've told this story before about when I started dating my high school girlfriend. I went to her parents, or at her house after church one Wednesday night. It was a night church situation, and we got
Night
lost on the
church.
way there because she didn't say anything. I made a wrong turn that she knew was wrong, and I was like, I guess we made a wrong turn. And she was like, yeah, I know. I thought you knew some other way. And I was in my head like, why didn't you say something? But anyway, we get to her parents' house like 2 hours later than we thought we were going to, and they're watching TV, and the two of us just walk in and sit down. And I, being a very nervous, anxious person, then more so than I am now, we finished whatever episode of CSI or whatever it was they were watching, and then no one said anything for a long time, and then her dad was like, so was there something you wanted to ask me? And then
Ask me?
Yeah, it was, I don't remember where the conversation went from there because it was very short
Oh my
and not worth talking about, but it was painful.
Did he want you to ask him permission to date?
Yeah, no, that was an expectation
Okay.
in the world I grew up in, the very conservative evangelical Christian world I come from. Yeah. Everyone knew that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
Like I had asked her out in true good Christian boy fashion. I never asked her out on a date. I asked her to be my girlfriend, just like
Yes, of
from
course.
just immediately into a committed relationship. And so like, it was always assumed that I was going to ask for her father's permission, and that she expected that of me, and they expected that of me. And so she, shortly after I asked her, was like, okay, well, we got to talk to my parents. And so we were like, Okay, cool. Wednesday after church, we'll go back to your place and talk to your
and watch
parents.
CSI quietly.
very, very painfully quietly, and then sit there and say nothing until he says something, which took, in my mind, about 45 minutes, but was probably more like 2 or 3. It was
Typically
a rough
22
night.
minutes with commercials.
Technically, it was between that and the driving an hour in the wrong direction situation, a terrible start to a relationship that wound up lasting about 3 months.
But it stuck with you, you know? It's
Yeah,
like a learning
in
moment.
ways, it stuck with me as trauma tends
Right.
to do.
But we've learned, we've grown.
Yeah, and I didn't make that mistake.
I don't
again.
think anybody. I have a single mom who works too hard. I do not think anybody ever asked permission to date me.
Yeah,
I think more I was like, "Hello, mom. I now have my friend is now my boyfriend. Okay, no further questions. Thank you."
very, very similar to how Bella does it in this scene.
Honestly, we're just so alike.
You're just so much like Bella.
Oh my goodness.
And that's how we started this conversation. I think this is a good place to wrap it up. Then we've come full circle, like a good herald. My last question of the interview portion, Tara. If you had to give this scene a name, what would it be? And this is also going to be the name of the episode, so please make it good.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I forgot to warn you. There are 2 moments in this show in which I will put you on the spot, but you're an improviser. I trust you to handle them
Should
just
it be a
fine.
pun?
It's whatever you want it to be.
Rainier to my heart.
Rainier to my heart. Speak on that as I type.
Because he keeps his daughter so near to him, and
Yeah.
also because the scene was sponsored by Rainier beer.
Rainier. I get it now. That's
Pun.
good.
It's a time for pun.
Fun. For some reason, my first thought when you said that was like key to my heart, and I was like, you just took the word key and put in Rainier. But no, you actually did something very smart and good, and I appreciate that. Tara Egan, if my listeners want to know more about you and the kind of comedy and stuff you do like that, where can they maybe follow you on social media or some such?
Oh yeah, they could go on Instagram.com with parents' permission.
Yeah, go on Instagram. Yeah, you tell them, boss.
You find that Instagram. I got taraegan.comedy for Instagram, or if
Spell
you like
Tara Egan for the listener.
T as in the
T as in the. Yep. This is going great. Your spelling is so good, Tara.
It's like T as in what's the actor's name who plays Jacob?
Taylor Lautner.
Yes.
T as in Taylor Lautner.
T as in Taylor Lautner.
A, here we go.
A as in the third of the vampire trinity Aquilicious. Artemis.
Aro,
Yes,
who's
yes,
one
yes.
of the Vulture.
T as in
yes.
Taylor Lautner. A as in Aro.
My favorite character
R
from the
as
movies.
in
Come on, Tara. There's an obvious one, Tara. We've
no.
talked about it several times.
Renee.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Renee's my dad.
No, I was
wait.
Rainier.
Oh, Rainier.
Come on.
There's so many R names.
R as in Renee or Renesmee or Rainier. Your choice.
Yes, you're right.
What's the next letter?
A as in a van is coming toward me.
Okay. Could have gone with Aro again, but not you. Not Tara. We're halfway there. You got 4 more letters.
E as in Edward.
Oh, yeah.
G as in gun.
Gun, because he has one. Yeah.
has
No,
one.
that's appropriate.
A as in a lot of mushroom ravioli.
Impressive that
Yes.
you went through 3 A's. It gave them all completely different.
And N as in night. Because that's when vampires have the most fun.
Yeah, .comedy.
Comedy. Yes.
You know how to spell comedy. We know how to spell comedy, Tara.
And you can also go to the internet
Yeah.
and type in taraegan.com
Ooh.
to find my website.
Wow, I didn't know about that. Where we can find out about your live shows, I assume, things you do like that. Lovely. If you want to follow this show on social media, please do. You can follow at bitesizedpod_ on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, where you will see me post clips of the show, news updates, things like that. Previews of what is to come. You can also send an email to the show to myfavoritetwilightpodcast@gmail.com. I may read it on the air. All that information and more, including how to support this show, at twilightpodcast.com. If you want to do something that kicks a couple dollars my way to help me keep this thing going, I like to lean on my microphone, but it makes too much noise. You can go to twilightpodcast.com/store. All that information and more available at those just places I just told you about. Thank you to my editor, Ben Oxford, for putting this show together, making it sound good. Thank you to the band Swimwear Department for letting you use their song Mauled to Death as our theme. Thank you to Kellen Lutz. You haven't listened to this show yet, but by God, you will one day, and you'll be on the show. This I swear. That is it. That is all the time we have for this episode of Bite Size. Thank you so much for listening. And as we always say at the end of every episode,
Bite you later.
Bite you later. See you next time.
Hey everybody, Editor Ben here. This week's episode came just a little short of our standard runtime, so I wanted to take the opportunity to remind you, if you haven't already, to check out twilightpodcast.com. That's T as in Tara, W as in werewolf, I as in I am a werewolf, L as in lichen, that's another kind of creature. I, as in, it's a vampire. G, as in, go get him. H, as in, Hottie Lotnerman. T, as in, town, comma, small. P, as in, playing baseball. O, as in, oh no, but it's raining. D, as in drenched. C, as in, can you feel the love tonight? A, as in, Astros are one of the baseball teams. S, as in, spider monkey. T, as in the. Dot, as in the girl Animaniac. C, as in, come on. O, as in, oh boy, this bit's going on for too long. And M, as in, might have to cut it.